If you've ever felt trapped, alone, or at the edge of despair, this story will reach you. Leo awoke to a roar that shook the very ground beneath him. Waves crashed violently against jagged rocks, spraying seawater into the dense morning mist. He tried to remember what had happened, but his mind was clouded by panic. His small boat, the one he had hoped would carry him to adventure, was gone, shredded by the storm. Pieces of driftwood floated aimlessly around him, like ghostly reminders of what he had lost. The island stretched endlessly in every direction, wild and untamed. Thick jungles clawed at the shoreline, cliffs rose sharply from the sea, and the air smelled of salt, rain, and something wild he couldn't name. Leo's heart pounded in his chest. Every instinct screamed that he was utterly alone. He scrambled to gather what little he could salvage from the wreckage: a small knife, a soaked blanket, and a few scraps of food that the storm had mercilessly spared. Sitting on the sand, he let the enormity of his situation sink in. "How will I survive here? How could everything go so wrong?" he whispered to himself, his voice swallowed by the wind. The first night was a nightmare. The cold seeped into his bones, and the cries of unseen creatures echoed through the jungle. Leo shivered under the blanket, staring at the stars above, wondering if he would ever see another sunrise. Yet, even in his fear, there was a small spark, a stubborn flicker that refused to be extinguished. "I can't give up," he muttered. "If I do, I'm truly lost." By dawn, he forced himself to explore the island. Each step took him deeper into the jungle, where sunlight barely touched the forest floor. Strange birds called overhead, and unseen insects skittered across vines and leaves. Leo stumbled upon a stream trickling down from a distant cliff, the water sparkling in the weak morning light. For the first time, he felt the barest hint of hope. Perhaps this island, as hostile as it seemed, could sustain him. The days that followed were brutal tests of endurance. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, blisters formed on his feet, and every night brought fear that he might never survive. Leo built a crude shelter from fallen branches and leaves, but even that felt fragile against the storms that battered the coast without warning. One morning, while following the stream upstream, he discovered a waterfall cascading into a hidden pool, and beside it, in the shadow of the rock face, was a man, old, hunched, and with eyes that seemed to pierce straight into Leo's soul. "Why do you look so defeated, boy?" he asked, his voice calm despite the surrounding chaos. He handed Leo a coconut, its water cool and sweet. I can't survive here," he admitted, shivering. "Nothing I try works. Every step I take, everything goes wrong." The old man smiled knowingly. "This island will take everything from you: comfort, certainty, illusion. But it will also reveal what remains when everything else is gone: strength, hope, courage. Only here, stripped of everything, can you truly find yourself." Leo spent days learning from the hermit. He discovered how to fish in the tidal pools, how to light fire with wet wood, and how to read the clouds and stars for signs of coming storms. Slowly, he began to notice changes within himself. He felt his fear lessen and his patience grow. Each failure, each setback, carved courage into his soul, shaping a man who could face anything. One evening, after nearly being swept away by a sudden river flood, Leo collapsed at the base of the waterfall. The hermit sat beside him, chuckling softly. "You've been running from your doubts, but look at you now. You've survived storms that would have swallowed you whole. You've learned to bend without breaking. You are stronger than you realize." Leo looked out at the dark waters and realized the truth of it. The island was not an enemy. It was a teacher. Every obstacle, every frightening sound in the night, every empty moment of despair had prepared him for this moment of understanding. Weeks passed, Leo's body had grown lean and strong, his mind sharper than ever. But one night, a storm unlike any before tore through the island. Waves crashed over the cliffs, winds whipped the trees until they groaned, and lightning split the sky with deafening cracks. Leo's shelter was destroyed, his fire extinguished, and exhaustion threatened to pull him under. Yet he did not give in. Holding on to a sturdy branch, he climbed the highest hill he could find, letting the storm rage around him. Rain soaked him to the bone, but as he reached the summit, something miraculous happened. The storm began to pass. The clouds parted, revealing a sunrise that spilled gold and crimson across the sky. He stood there, drenched and trembling, and understood a truth that went deeper than survival. The island hadn't tried to destroy him, it had revealed him. In losing everything, he had discovered courage, resilience, and hope. Strength wasn't something he needed to find elsewhere. It had always been inside him. He whispered to the wind, his voice carried over the calm sea. "I am stronger than I believed. I am alive. I can endure anything." And for the first time in his life, Leo felt real peace. He had faced despair, isolation, and fear, and he had emerged unbroken. The island that had seemed like a prison had become the forge in which his spirit was made unshakable. This story teaches us, even when isolated and overwhelmed, your inner strength is enough to survive and thrive. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what truly matters. If this story reminded you that hope can rise even in the darkest places, subscribe and journey with us to discover more stories of courage, resilience, and transformation.